Namaste to all. Kushro Bidya, myself Jimin Dr. Kushbu Verma from Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today we are going to discuss about plant tissue culture applications. First of all, we have to discuss about the development of superior cultivars by the help of plant tissue culture. So there will be germplasm storage, somoclonal variation, embryo rescue, ovary and ovule culture, anther and pollal culture, careless and protoplast culture, protoplasmic fusion, which is also known as somatic hybridization, in vitro screening and multiplication you can done by plant tissue culture method. If we talk about the major applications related to tissue culture, so first major application is micropropagation, means you can save the threatened species by multiplying those species through in vitro micropropagation method, in which you prepare new plants from a single explant or some of the explant. And second major application is germ plasm preservation. Third one is somaclonal variation. Fourth is haploid and dihaploid production. And next is in vitro hybridization, which is also known as protoplast fusion and somatic hybridization. So you can understand micropropagation method by this diagrammatic representation. Here I am sharing the screen, where you can select the X plant, and especially apical meristeme you have to select. What is the reason behind the selection of apical meristeme? Because apical meristeme cells are having tendency for fastest cell division, and the rate of cell division is too much high, so virus cannot take a time for their rapid cell division. So this reason, this apical region is virus free region, because here cell division rate is very high, so virus not able to divide itself in this fast speed in a cell. So that's why this apical meristeme region is virus free region, and that's why we are selecting only this region. And especially this is the best choice for explant, so we are selecting this region. We cut the region, and we excise them and go for the sterilization process, then prepare the nutrient media, suitable media for shoot induction, and then we just inoculate this apical meristeme into media. After shoot induction, we change the media for root culture. Here is a terminology difference by hormone combination difference, means if you are preparing media for shoot induction, so cytokinin concentration will be higher, means if we are talking about the BAP, so BAP concentration will be added. But if you are going for a root culture, so you have to shift your explant, your shoots, prepare in vitro prepared shoots into root culture medium, which is not having cytokinin. It will have auxin in the concentration, and like your NAA will be added, and media concentration should optimum media concentration is half of the number. So you just prepare complete plantlet with the in vitro grown shoot and in vitro grown root. After the completion of in vitro propagation, you just shift these plantlets into hardening process. Basically, you just shift this plantlet into coco-pit mixture, which is already sterilized, and you just cover this plantlet with the poly bag, but it is having aeration facility by some holes, and just try to give distilled water, and you can also add ms by 4, means 1 by 4th of nutrient medium, liquid medium, into this coco pit for the optimum growth of plantlet. When this in vitro grown plantlet becomes suitable according to the concern, according to the surrounding area environment, now you shift this plantlet into field or into pot of greenhouse. So you will get virus free plant, and you can get a complete plantlet from a single explant. So this is the major application, which is micropropagation, by which you can create a complete whole plant by using only a single portion or single piece of plant. Now, what are the features of micropropagation? So clonal reproduction is the feature of micropropagation, which is a way of maintaining heterozygosity. Second feature is multiplication stage that can be recycled many times to produce an unlimited number of the clones, especially routinely using commercially for many ornamental species, some vegetatively propagated crops you can multiply. Third feature of micropropagation is easy to manipulate production cycle. This is not limited by field season or environmental influences. And fourth feature is disease-free plant can be produced. It has been used to eliminate virus from the donor plant. Microcutting propagation basically involves the production of shoot from pre-existing meristems only. It requires breaking apical dominance, and it is a specialized form of organogenesis. Okay, so these are some micro cutting propagation features. So now we are going to discuss about steps of micropropagation. So first of all, stage 0 will come where you select and prepare the mother plant, you maintain the mother plant, and further you go for the sterilization process of plant tissue, which you are taking for plant tissue culture technique or procedure. This portion or this tissue is known as explant. So you have to go for the sterilization process in stage 0. Next stage is stage 1, which is initiation of the culture. So explant inoculated into growth media. In the stage 2, that tissue or explant will be multiplied. So explant transfer to the shoot media where shoot will be induced, and it will be, this shoot can be constantly divided when branching is coming. So you can just cut out these branches, and this you can separate these branches, and you can again transfer single branch into shoot culture media for the maximum growth of shoot. And in stage 3, which is rooting, so you just shift that shoot, in vitro grown shoot, into rooting media to induce the root. So explant transfer to the root media, and for completion of the rooting induction. And in the stage 4, when your plantlet is fully grown with the full grown shoot and root, you just transfer your plantlet to the soil. So explant return to the soil, which is this process, complete process, this shifting is known as hearting. Now come to the comparison of conventional and micropropagation of virus indexed registered red raspberries. So if you are talking about conventional and micropropagation, so for conventional, its duration, raspberries durations are for 6 years for fully grown. But for micropropagation, you can create a complete grown plant within 2 years. Labors you need dig and plant every 2 years, and you can use unskilled people. It is inexpensive. For micropropagation subculture, you have to go for the subculturing every 4th week, and you need skilled persons, which is more expensive in the comparison. And if you are talking about the space, so in conventional method, you need more space, means you need more farm area, but it is less expensive. But in case of a micropropagation, you need a proper well-developed laboratory with the fully equipments. So it requires less space, but it is more expensive due to its laboratory construction and your equipments. it is more expensive. If we are talking about the requirement to prevent viral infection, so in conventional method, you first of all you have to go for the screening, then fumigation, and then spraying. But in micropropagation, you don't need any of a step which you are using in the conventional method. So these are some comparisons about the conventional farming and micropropagation method. There are some ways to eliminate the viruses. So you in during the micropropagation process, first of all, heat treatment. So plant grow faster than virus at high temperature. Next way is meristeming, means viruses are transported from cell to cell through plasmodesmata and through the vascular tissue. Apical meristem, often free of virus, trade off between infection and survival. Third way is not all cells in plants are infected. This is third concept, and so adventitious shoots forms from single cells can give virus free shoots. There are some ways for elimination of the virus. So first of all, you have to select plant from the field, then pre-growth in the greenhouse, which is also known as active growth. You give heat treatment of 35°C per month, which create virus-free plant. So when you get virus-free plant, you can go for the adventitious shoot formation by tissue culture method, or you can go for meristem culture. By the meristem culture, you can select virus-free region by virus testing. On the similar hand, on the parallel hand, adventitious shoot form, when you get adventitious shoot, so you can go for virus testing. After selection of virus-free adventitious shoot or meristem region, you can go for the micropropagation cycle. There are two types of somatic embryogenesis process. First one is indirect somatic embryogenesis. Second is direct somatic embryogenesis. In indirect somatic embryogenesis, you select the explant, then explant will be inoculated on suitable media which create callus, and this callus is embryogenic, which is further go for maturation and then go for germination. In the induction of callus, auxin required for the induction and proembryonic mass form, and 2,4-D is most used, but NAA dicamba also used for the induction process, and for development process, auxin must be removed from embryo development. It continued with the auxin inhibits embryogenesis, and if you are continuing with the auxin, so it inhibits the somatic embryogenesis, and stages are similar to those of zygotic embryogenesis. Means first of all globular structure will come, then heart, and then torpedo, and then cotyledonary, and further germination, which is also known as conversion stage, will come. So somatic embryogenesis is similar to the zygotic embryogenesis. Next stage is maturation. So it requires complete maturation with apical meristem, radicle, and cotyledons, often obtain repetitive embryony and storage protein production necessary. It often requires ABA for complete maturation. ABA often required for normal embryo morphology, which is also known as fasciculation and precocious germination. Next stage is germination. So it may only obtain 3 to 5% germination, and for the germination you require 10% sucrose, 4% mannitol may be used for germination process. And next process is drying, which is also known as desiccation. So in the drying process, ABA level decreases, and it is basically used for woody plants, and final moisture after drying process will be 10 to 40%. Next stage is chilling. for germination process. So it also decreases the ABA level, and it is also used for woody plants. Now come to the plant germplasm preservation method. So it is it can be done by two methods, in situ and ex situ method. In situ method, conservation of any plants in normal habitat, means like you can use rainforest, garden and farms for conservation of any plant in natural environment. But in case of a ex situ plant germplasm preservation process, first of all you have to go for field collection and botanical gardens. You have to select seeds from there, and then you can do in vitro collection, like extension of micropropagation technique you can do, like normal growth you can done by, which is also known as short term storage. You can go for the slow growth of plantlets in vitro culture, which is also known as medium term storage. And third type of preservation method, which is known as cryopreservation in ex situ method. So it is long term storage. And third type of plant germplasm preservation is DNA banks. So this is the sum up of this session, and this session is powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University Jaipur. If you have any query, then mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.